Hello all, and welcome to yet another John song recommendation video. So the first one I'd done were European tracks, which I believe went under the radar. And once again, it's the same premise, but this time it's almost the same premise, but instead of songs that were coming from other countries like Romania or Morocco, and being some really cool pop modern songs, which I believe should have represented more of the 2010s. This is almost the same video, but there's just all English lyrics. And I will say that listening to the foreign lyrics in the in the songs of the previous video, they are so cool. But yeah, let's get on to this one. So yeah, this is definitely more of a list of artists that you probably were more familiar of, and even music channels as well, like Spinning Records or Ultimate Records. There's some hidden gems every now and again, which which are rather cool, and if there are some who prefer modern music compared to other type of music, these are definitely the kind of songs for you. So yeah, this isn't a ranking. It's just explaining one song after the other. And once again, you don't have to go through the video, but I at least recommend the songs which I mentioned here because you'll most unlikely have heard of them. But yeah, I think once you do, I think they have potential to be far greater than the general public seem to think. I don't know what people think of these songs normally. Like, there are definitely fans of each one, but I feel like they deserve more of an audience, especially if music videos get nearly billions of views. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on to the first track. Alright, so the first modern track, and currently one of my favourite tracks at the moment, and it goes to this track called Amnesia, which you not only can find on Spinning Records, their YouTube channel, but it also has a couple of different remixes as well. But in this case, the original one is definitely the best one. And interestingly enough, this came in about January, February 2012, which I think is interesting because 2012 was already one of my favourite years of music, especially with the songs that appeared on the Now albums. Sadly, this one didn't really make the cut, which is a real shame because this is fantastic. It's one of those songs which is like your normal everyday dance track, but unlike the most familiar and common ones, this one has a bit more depth to it, and it has a couple of interesting ideas. So, like, granted, it is one of those songs where you break up with someone who you're not keen on, but then it has a second perspective of, oh, are you sure that that was like the choice you want to make? So it has that back and forth element, and that's nicely represented by Rosette, their female vocalist, and Timbaland, who comes in every now and again. And he has a similar role to the song 4 Minutes with Madonna, Justin Timberlake, where he comes in every now and again. And I do like him. He does, I think he comes in more often in Amnesia, which is rather cool, and he appears more so as the song comes along because he mainly appears at the end of the choruses only to be more prominent as the song ends, which is really cool. And I think Carey is who does the DJ work, and I think Brasco's the rapper who comes in at the bridge of the song. I might have got the wrong way around, but normally the DJs are listed first. So, and I think that's he who does the instrumental work, especially when looking at the music video. And why is it 4 names, but where's the 4th guy? We need to share the credit anyway. Once again, it's a nice cool dance track, but it has a really interesting section of notes, as if a lot of it sounds like it's played on the keyboard because it's quite repetitive, and the way the way the notes, you know, play, yeah, it just feels like constantly pressing the keyboard, which is really cool because that's definitely the case with the verses because they feel like, especially when the song first starts and it yeah, it just has this really cool build up, and then it has that swirling sound effect as the chorus comes along, and the weight is put at full maximum, and it's really good stuff. It's a really good way on how to um, progress a pop song, because there are, the more famous pop songs where they do more straightforward approaches, like, or we'll just have more of the silent intro and then play all the notes there. But sometimes in the chorus, not only is there not enough notes, but the weight doesn't really come in as well. And sometimes sometimes when you create a song, you're like, oh, this sounds catchy, let's just instantly go with this choice. But I feel like when it comes to songs like these, there's just a bit more effort, because do you have the main notes, but then you just have other parts as well, like the bass notes, and you have the additional sound effects, and even the vocals a bit more layered, because you have Rosette, who acts as the lead, and then has really cool backing vocalists, which were also sung by her, and Timbaland's cool input too. And yeah, there's just more emphasis on the weight and the emotion, and yeah, it's just the build up. It reminds me of a Cascada track, and if those who do or do not know, they've done tracks like Every Time We Touch, a cover of Skater Boy, and Evacuate the Dance Floor. It's the female vocalist and two DJs, and they do this style of music rather well, where they make a dance tune a bit more meaningful and a tad more emotional, and yeah, there's just a lot more to pick up upon when listening to songs like this. And yeah, other than it's just very similar to a Cascada track, except it has two other male vocals in there. Like, granted, Evacuate the Dance Floor does have two rappers that come in at the bridge, like one has one turning in the next, and yeah, it's like a really cool detail. So it is very similar to Amnesia, except aside from the rapper coming in later on in the track, you have Timbaland who's in between, and yeah, it's just a really cool track. I like it a lot, and as someone who's a big fan of music of 2012, is it still recording? Yeah, it is. Sorry, I've accidentally screenshotted. Anyway, but yeah, it's just someone who knows what 2012 was like in terms of music, has a very unique style to it, where yeah, it's just a lot of it was just quite laid back, and despite a couple of dancing tunes, there were some which had a bit more of a cap on, which made it a bit more easy listening. Therefore, the adults at the time would have been more into those tracks compared to what's been released afterwards. But yeah, it's just that at first I thought this was like in 2016 or 15, but no, it was just earlier back then. But I suppose if it does sound similar to Cascada, then it's their own approach with creating a song like this. But yeah, I think that's where I'll stop there, because yeah, once again, fab track. Really like the build up, like the theming, like the two-way perspective. It ends the song in a cool way as well, and yeah, good use of sound effects as well. Not normally a fan of them, but yeah, it's just they just really add to the weight of the track and that. So yeah, well done all of you for creating a fab track. You all deserve a lot of rewards for this song. But anyway, yeah, let's move on. So I think this is a bit more of a famous track because it came from Trap Nation or Chill Nation. Could be from Spinning Records, could be from Ultra Music. I could be wrong. So, but as those channels are quite popular, for quite some time now, I feel like most people wouldn't know what this song is, but I just thought to mention it just in case because I haven't heard it on the radio anywhere. And if it's from Trap Nation, who are famous for creating remixes, but they do create nice original tunes every now and again, because I really like um, Enemies and My Mind. I quite like those. They have some interesting note choices and build up and weight. Although I really like this song as well. This one's really gentle, even when it comes to um, the chorus and the dubstep climax. You could say it just feels more chill. It kind of reminds me of "Calling Me" by Stanley, I think, was one of the artists for that song, where he's just more chill and gentle, and it sounds quite sweet at parts as well. But yeah, I think this song is. I think it's like an aftermath of a one night stand. I think, but I think it's just one of those songs where it like represents. I think being a bit unsure how you feel afterwards. Just not that nothing's bad happened, but it's just it's probably coming from the female perspective, considering it's female vocals, and it's just her looking back and just having I guess some mixed emotions. I could be wrong, but that's just the impression I've got because um, I'm not very good with lyrics, and I've said that in my last video. But regardless of lyrics, it's just really nice and gentle. And normally, as said for the previous song, it's cool to have songs that have layers, but sometimes you can accidentally go too messy. So that's the other end of that coin. But in this case, despite only listening to far fewer instrumental elements, I just really like the notes because it sounds like an echoey piano that goes across, and not much percussion either, which is another interesting touch. But I really like Kate's vocals here. Just really selling that waking up feeling, because when you think of 6 a.m., it's quite an early waking up time for some, and even in some of the visuals which can be found in their music videos and that. It's just a really nice gentle track. You would not normally recommend dubstep to older generations, but I would easily share this with people and be like, hey, this is a nice simpler track, not just trendy, and just overall really nice. Because I don't normally like when themes get a bit more mature, despite being a song for family-friendly audiences. But not only is this a song I think is more of a teen thing, but I think it knows it's having more of a teenage audience. But even then, it's just really nice, and I think older generations would like this as well because of how nice and gentle it is. Sorry, I feel like I'm saying gentle a lot. Sorry about that, but you get what I mean. And I wish there were more dubstep songs like this, or just generally more pop songs a bit more like this, because it's very reminiscent of other songs later on. To which, speaking of which, let's move on to that one.
Yeah, this is one of those rare instances where it's a song that only exists in a live format, which explains this. And this comes from the BBC Music's YouTube channel, which and does have some interesting material every now and again. I think it does appear once more on this list. But yeah, I really like this one. And no, this isn't the same Jay Brown from EastEnders. I remember being a bit thrown off by that because I'm a big fan of that show. And this song is rather cool as well. There's a nice edginess to it, and edginess I was trying to say, sorry. And it's like one of those songs where it's it treats the bass as the main star, and that's the thing that keeps going throughout. Even and I think the same could be said with the drum work as well. And yeah, I like Jay's vocals. Yeah, yeah, very. Yeah, I think she has quite a cool voice. Able to do a couple of long range notes and um, yeah, just like in the verses, she's able to add like a bit of a edginess to her voice, which sounds rather cool. I like the backup vocalists as well that appear in the chorus as well. And yeah, and as you could guess, I think the song is about I guess I think I want to say this is self-explanatory, but I think it's um, yeah, it's not one of those songs where they're like, oh, maybe lost and hopeless, but it can come out of it. I think it is just mostly describing that, and I guess like what it feels like to be, both words, and but it does it in a way which doesn't treat it too deep of a subject, which is nice. Because I think it just depends on the song. Sometimes songs lean quite heavy towards the themes they go for, but then you have songs like this where the theme is just more on the smaller side of things, which is absolutely fine. And yeah, this song, you can definitely tell, um, what instrument is which. Can listen to, every instrument in the track, which once again I quite like. Uh, Um, and yeah, the guitar does have a couple of moments, and I don't think there's any keyboard work or piano work, but you only have the guitar that when it comes in the chorus, and then has a bit more of a cameo in during the later parts of the second verse, and yeah, and yeah, it is like drums every now and again, which sounds really cool, and yeah, and there's even a part of the second verse where it gets all quiet for the vocals for about a solid few seconds, which helps the variation of the track, and yeah, helps differ the verses, and um, yeah, later on, she has one of those moments where she's like, "Hey, audience, clap with me," and yeah, and yeah, that's a bit more of a community spirit to the performance, which is quite cool. There's tons of live performances I've seen which I like, not only from normal live concerts, but I've seen Good Feel on Holiday, and you do have that feel where you can listen to every aspect of the song, and yeah, it gives me that kind of vibe. It sounds it's just a really cool track, definitely a highlight when listening to the whole of this channel. And I say this when I said one more, actually no, there's two more, arguably three, but I'll stick for two because they actually appear on this album. But yeah, let's go on to the new track. Okay, so this is the same Travis that sings songs like Why Does It Always Rain on Me and a good few other famous ones. My introduction to this band was a song called Walk in the Sun, which I think was released during probably their golden age. And this one, I think, could be a slightly later album. I'm only saying this because the album looks a bit more modern. I could be wrong. I'm not the most fluent or familiar of their work, but really really cool though. It's just like an extremely light rock. There's always good piano work, and the drums are even rather light, and yeah, it's just the strumming that's rather constant. Yeah, I will say that Walk in the Sun, despite being one of the more popular songs and probably my all-time favorite Travis track, yeah, that one does have a lot of interesting elements as well, like yeah, even the way the songs are written lyric wise, it's very distinct. Yeah, I think it's just like the kind of lyrics, the style, which is a bit more, slightly carefree, not too deep, and not too dramatic, but it suits them, and quite like it, because even Why Does It Always Rain on Me, it's I think it's like one of those songs where it is a tad more upbeat compared to the average sad song, or at least a song with sad imagery, especially what's said in the title. And yeah, and speaking of which, this song, I don't really know what this one's about, but this one does have a lot of cool elements. Walk in the Sun does have like that interesting orchestra around the end, and it ends the song on some much harder and louder notes. But in this one, it has like the kind of build up where the guitar will not only strum every now and again, even starting the song, but it keeps going with the piano. And I think that's also cool about the lead vocalist, is that he has these cool notes, like just deeper notes with his voice. And during the verse, it goes from normal to deep, and even in the final verse, there's a little bit more extra vocals on top of that. And then later on in the chorus, there's some like dinging in the background. I think it could be done by percussion, or it might be done by on an extremely high note on the guitar, which twiddles every now and again. And the momentum of the song is kept up, and also the chorus gets a bit louder as well, because the vocalist goes for longer votes as well, because before you're singing more normally, with the deeper notes, but in the chorus it goes for just a bit more just like longer notes, like I said, just really demonstrating his voice. And I think the song demonstrates his voice more so than I've heard with the other two singles I've mentioned by them. It's just a rather snazzy track, one that definitely represents them well. And and I think the drum work is a bit more harder in this one as well, which another nice cool detail that makes this song stand out compared to the other two singles as well. So yeah, if you like if you already like those and they singles by Travis, I'd ever recommend this one as well. This one, it's ever like one of those tracks where you're like, oh, why is this not been a single? It's just a very excellent track. And yeah, I think else I can say for that one. So yeah, if you like songs that have the piano work throughout, and with alternative guitar work and deeper vocals, this is definitely the song for you. Okay, so this is a more very nostalgic one, despite coming across this song about 2 years ago. I think it's older than 2 years ago, but yeah, that's when I first found it. This comes from Better Noise Music, or I think it might be the Rock channel. I'm not sure. I can always talk about the channels I've listened to the whole entirety of. And yeah, I remember this one being a highlight as well. And there's even an acoustic version of the song which captures the spirit of this track as well, which is rather cool. What I will say though is that when listening to the rest of the stuff, it sounds very different to this one, as if like this song has female vocalists, and when I go across their material with the rest of it, it's like a rather small discography so far. I say so far because I hope they do more, because after listening to all of them, they do sound rather cool. But I just remember thinking, the female vocalist, she's not as prominent in the other songs. Like she is like the star of this song, and even that the general style I haven't really seen be as similar to this one, because this one has a heavy use of a piano, and it's similar to the Travis song actually, where the piano takes part of the forefront of the song, and then the guitar work comes every now and again. And it's more so there in the chorus, and there's also more build up in in both the first the second verse and chorus, because in the second verse there's a bit more vocal work, and yeah, that's where the guitar has more of a role. And in the chorus it loops one more, but with extra vocals and also with the instruments coming about. And yeah, I think this also kind of sounds like I was about to say a road trip track, which I found a bit amusing because it has lyrics like, oh, you know, join me for a joyride. I think it's like a song about, I don't know, it just sounds like a very casual partying track. And oh yeah, sorry, I'm rubbish with lyrics. I can't tell if it's meeting someone new or someone who I don't know. I think it sounds like she's singing about someone that she's already familiar of. Well, not in reality, but you know, just if the narrative was telling its own story. But yeah, this one's rather neat. Yeah, I do like her voice as well. It has a bit of a quirkiness to it. It kind of reminds me of. I can't really think who to compare it to. You know, I think she probably stands out that much. And yeah, and her voice varies from actually, yeah, she has a variation of both deeper vocals and even high pitched parts when she acts as the backing vocals as she continues to sing as well, which is rather neat. And the acoustic version, it makes this song a tad slower, and yeah, just only has the piano work and one of the string things, and also cuts out the drums. But yeah, really nice version. Like I said, it captures like the heart of it, because you know, sounds very alike, but you know, just the acoustic version sound a bit more natural. And I feel like the start of this song sounds like one of those guitar effects where you strum the guitar, then you turn up the volume with the electric parts, and then it creates the sound of, you know, if it's a bit like that, I could be wrong though. It could have been done by something else. But yeah, when I say, you know, why nostalgic, yeah, I just remember coming across this song later on, you know, when it was getting to the end of my uni days, and yeah, thus the end of my educational days. So yeah, I just find this song to be one of the primary anthems to it. So yeah, it's an extra special one to me. And yeah, it's just this one does have a bit more layers than the J Brown song earlier. Not just because of it being a live performance, but yeah, this song does have more to bite into, and yeah, it just sounds like a generally nice song. And you know, despite being part of a rock channel, it does sound a bit like a pop song as well. Like, I'll definitely recommend to all sorts of people in my generation, but at the same time, most people in my generation are more into you know, the kind of music made on the computer, outside of a couple of others, of course. It just depends on who's been popular at the time and what kind of genre has been put more in the forefront compared to others. And yeah, I think the last thing to say is that yeah, this song doesn't have a music video. Hopefully, it's released as a single. That I'm not sure, but then the acoustic version, which actually has footage, you know, just shows them play, and yeah, all of them work together rather well. Um, yeah, I think that's all I can say about the song. Yeah, just a nice, quirky, slightly rocky pop song with lyrics that immediately sink in your head, which yeah, is quite cool when the song does that. Yeah, I guess we'll go on to the next song. Alright, so this is one of the you know, BBC Music coming back, and in this instance, this is these two artists who I'm not sure how famous they are in, you know, with music at the moment. I always keep thinking it's the Jonas Brothers, but obviously, you know, it's not. They're not called that. But what I will say is that this is the cover of, is it Dua Lipa's track? Yeah, forgive me if I'm wrong. And yeah, you can tell I'm not the most up to date with modern charts, despite how much I try to listen of it. But yeah, this is a really nice acoustic version of that track. I do like the original pop song, um, definitely memorable in some ways. But in this instance, this yeah, it's just a nice alternative twist to the track where it uses the piano and has some cool backing vocalists, and even I think it's like a trumpet that plays as well, which adds to the vibe it's going for. Yeah, it's mostly the piano across the song. Just like a nice slow one, and there's some minor percussion work, which mainly comes about because this is one of those modern songs where it. I think is it like, oh yeah, I think it is the pre-chorus, or maybe like the first half of the chorus, you could say, where it has the vocals and then it has the instrumental segment. But in this case, the back vocalists kind of continue, and it's where the drum work comes about, and the trumpet, comes in the forefront. But yeah, I do like the build up to the chorus as well, because in the pre-chorus, there's a quick cymbal that plays thanks to I presume this is the drummer of the track. I haven't really seen the music video to this one, but for how many times listened to it, it's rather nice, because the main vocals of the track, bloke is able to have these really nice high notes that almost kind of go with the piano, and and it builds up the weight of the song rather cool, because I remember the original building up quite well to the original song as well, but I think the only difference is that this version only adds the instruments later, whilst I think in the original most of the elements are there despite the attempt of a build up. And I remember in the second verse as well, there's more of a bass drum, and the back vocalists have a bit more of a role as well. Just once again another really nice piece. I really like it when things are demonstrated in the studio, and also this is another example of a pop song that is able to be translated in a acoustic form, which I really like. It just goes to show that if the original song is versatile enough and it has already a good foundation, then it means that you can definitely do more with it. And because there's tons of songs where it's so much of a pop song at a point where I'm like, I can't really see how it would translate into an acoustic form. But this one, I probably would never thought this one would have worked in acoustic form. But yeah, it's they're all done well here. It's rather neat, and I think studio music is another side of the modern industry which tends to be hidden under the rug. But I think it should be listened to more, because these are probably modern artists, and those of my generation would recognise them, and just see how they would feel about more of an acoustic approach of the songs they like. I think it should be talked about and exposed a bit more. So I think that's all I can say for this one. So BBC Music has another banger in their channel, and I think this probably would have been played in like Radio 2 or something, because BBC tends to like playing live versions of certain tracks, and then coming back in a video format. It's it's a very cool thing. Sorry if I'm keep using the same words, but anyway, let's move on to the next track.
When you get like one of those songs and you can't really tell if it's like a pop song or a rock song. I would argue it's oh gosh, I think it's definitely more of a pop song because of it's quite loud like a rock song, and not to mention just seeing the drums and guitars in action, and not to mention I think the YouTube channel I came across was probably a rock channel which had this song on, but I could be wrong, but it just kind of reminded me of the Linkin Park track where it sometimes they go for like Burn It Down, where it's like that mixture of rock and electronic. Although whilst most of those songs in that Living Things album was quite heavy, this is quite gentle despite how grand it gets. Yeah, this song does have a lot of atmosphere to it, quite echoey and quite layered in the amount of sounds. Because like all of it, like nearly everything sounds cloudy, which makes it like well, just like a nice cloudy. Because even like during the percussion trick, for instance, instead of like proper thumps to like I can normally prefer a proper good thump of a drum. It's like that proper distinct sound. Instead, it's very light at a point where it almost sounds like it's just cymbals going along, throughout the track. And there's this interesting part of the bridge where there's a lot of layered harmonies, probably just done by this one lead singer who, yes, she's a female vocalist who does seem to have a really nice voice. And the other I can remember quite Andre's synth work. The guitars, it just nicely adds to the background, like because it helps start off the song with these with these gentle guitar notes, still done on electric guitar, and then there's some synth work which consists of some longer notes which go along with the extra harmonies in the background and a couple of distinct one-off synth notes as well. So yeah, just yeah, I like the build up to the song was quite good as well, because as I mentioned, it starts off with the guitar and then yeah, a bit more percussion comes in as she starts singing, and she goes, yeah, just a nice gentle voice, and then Shiney makes it slightly stronger during the chorus, just still yeah, once again gentle yet grand at the same time. It's just a very yeah, it is just very atmospheric in the same way. And yeah, it's quite a positive sounding song as well. I've not gonna lie, I haven't listened to this much, so they could be one of those songs where it could sound happy and peaceful, yet the lyrics could, um, cover like a deeper subject of some sort. So I could be wrong in that department. I say I do like uh, this as well, because even though the music videos is slightly different, the music video is a bit more white in its background, but yeah, this does definitely suit what what the song feels like. And yeah, I think that's all I can say about this one. Yeah, it's one of those occasions where I probably would have liked to listen to the song a bit more before reviewing it, considering how well I knew the other ones. But I still want to recommend this one because yeah, it just really stood out, and I'm yet to listen to the rest of this band as well. Yeah, it's a very great song. I would definitely would like to listen to it more to see what else I can find. But from what I've heard so far, it's some pretty good stuff. So yeah, let's get on to the next one. Now this is an underrated song. So when putting its main video and the most popular lyric videos together, that adds up roughly about 5 million views, which is extremely small considering the era it came from. Because most modern music songs, they go way over 100 million views. But yeah, this song is fantastic. I can't believe it's not reached the heights of other songs, because another Mabel track I like is TikTok with Clean Bandit in. I think that one's fantastic. That too has that's a song with a million views and it makes sense to me. But why doesn't this? And even has Kamille, who as far as I saw on YouTube is quite popular as well. I can't believe there's not been many people in my generation listening to this one. It's kind of maybe a bit sad, but that's why I'm here, is to give songs to give more spotlight to underrated tracks like this. And yeah, this song is also sometimes you can tell it's a good track when you can interpret it in an acoustic way, and there is an acoustic version of this song, which is rather nice. Has some really cool guitaring and some nice backing vocals, and the same can be said here. The backing vocals are a bit more, I was about to say artificial, but they sound more like a nice echo because the effects applied. But when the acoustic version, they do sound like everyone singing in one room. But just like I said, really nice and Ival song. And if you're wondering about Kamille, she comes in at the second chorus, and she adds more of a sassy nature to the song, which is quite a nice touch because it's just a vaguely I think it is a sassy song because it has it's a bit like a Beyonce song, but one with they're just because a lot of Beyonce's material is quite forefront and strong, and despite having the similar beats and elements, it's a bit more calmer, and even at a point where the strongest part of the song is the bass stuff, because there's this cool bass part which like hits as the chorus starts, which is a really nice way to start off the chorus, and then later on in the chorus there's some instrumental build up and Mabel and the backing vocals start amping up a bit, and it's it's really cool. And the song immediately starts off with her singing the chorus, and it comes in just in time with what I think is a keyboard. It's a bit like Amnesia, where it might have been made by a DJ or someone on the computer, but it just sounds like a really nice synthesizer because it consistently plays throughout the song, and I think that consistency really helps songs like these. But just going back to the previous subject, I don't understand why this isn't more popular. Because the music video isn't really much of a music video. But it's just when looking throughout it, I don't know what album it's part of, and for the Kamille fans, I don't know why. Why isn't this song as popular as others? Because it has a lot of elements which they like. I think maybe because other songs are more popular, and then this one gets a bit trampled on, which is a real shame. Like I said, if you do like the approach of modern music, and if you like either female artist, then I recommend this one. I would say it's one of Mabel's best songs because she uses a more laid back vocals. It's quite a relaxed feeling you get from the song, but then you have some cool build up parts, especially with from going from the verse to the chorus, and then you also have the verse which adds the instruments and the vocals a bit more. And I really like the bridge as well, just a nice small bridge to like help build up the chorus again. It's just a nice well done track, and it's vaguely reminiscent of the 2000s where they just like know their limits a bit more, and I feel like there's just more effort with going for these really nice soft notes, because when listening to the instrumental, it's great. And I think one of my animation showreels used the instrumental of this song. If it's not one that is on my channel now, it's probably on a more of a private showreel, and it sounds really nice with it. That's all I can say with this one. Please listen to this track if you like any other modern music. This is definitely more of a mainstream track, and it's more of a track from the time this was recorded. So let's move on.
Alright, so on to a slightly older artist. So if you are wondering where we heard this name from, Ben Folds, he has done music for the likes of Hoodwinked and Over the Hedge and various other media. He's quite iconic for creating these the mostly jovial songs that have his own unique twist on them. Although interestingly enough, whilst that's the most of the music in Over the Hedge, in Hoodwink, however, he does play one song called Red and Blue, which I really like the piano in that song, and the way it works with the cello. It creates a very gloomy atmosphere, and it's just like a song from my childhood almost, because every time I listen to it, I just get into a deep phase, and I was like, wow, it's some really good stuff. And but yeah, from onto this track, Draw a Crowd. I don't know. I think this might have been after Over the Hedge and Hoodwinked, and because those films were before 2007, I think, or 2008 perhaps, and this is a really cool hit. It has one of my favourite piano melodies. It's because when you look at the piano as a whole and see whereabouts in scale it is, it's almost in between the deep notes and the mid notes, and it has this like really cool jingle, which is very memorable actually. I can just think of it right now, and it kind of sounds like an Over the Hedge track, except this there's more emphasis on the piano, and there were more more instruments used in Over the Hedge, because there were, like in the song Heist, for example, there are trumpet parts at later parts of the song, and so I think there's more instruments used there, but in this case it's just really cool bass, which is also in the forefront, and you have a guitar that only comes every now and again. The most memorable guitar segment is at the end of the second verse, where there's these long notes, and and I think what I also like about Ben Folds is that his lyrics are quite easy to catch up upon. They're a bit more blatant compared to the average music artist. I remember some people saying that the words to his songs are so bad they're good, but I personally think they're just rather good in general. They work with the songs he did, and it works with this one as well. It does have one swear word during the chorus, which kind of puts me off from recommending this track to like other adults, you could say, because I know a lot of adult people who don't really like bad language, and it doesn't ruin the song. It does work with what it sets out to be, because I think the song is kind of obvious. It's a song about try getting your own audience and that, which is quite a cool theme, and he has his own twist on it as well, and and there's also this the drum work goes kind of mad in the during the bridge and the final chorus. The drum work, it just like keeps going, it keeps whacking the cymbals, and it makes the song a bit more messier, which but like a good messier, just a lot more busy work, and it's just creating more of a climax, and then there's a couple more lines, and then it just goes back to just the just going back to the piano melody until it stops on its own. And even the song starts off with, like, the first 10 seconds, it's a cappella of everyone, including Ben. You just a long a cappella note. Like if you know the song New Life by Depeche Mode, great song by the way. There's a part at the end of the song where, before the synth work further increases, everyone that comes in with a singular vocal note, and then it kind of, although that ends in a screech to to further add to the crescendo of the track, but in this case it's better for a cappella. It stops, and the piano continues on, which it's an interesting choice. Oh yeah, by the way, New Life by Depeche Mode. If you like early '80s stuff, I do recommend that. I think that's a band I would like to talk about more. They're one of my favourite bands after all. Top five, absolutely. Um, yeah, and I say I kind of like the artwork in this album as well. You know, it's kind of cool. It matches with the song as well in some way. And yeah, so yeah, if you like music from Over the Hedge, in that yeah, you'll definitely like this song. It has a very similar jovial vibe, except this one's a bit more adult because of one of the lines that has swearing during the chorus. But even then, yeah, I think it's yeah, it's yeah, a very catchy one, a very catchy piano. Yeah, definitely won't be leaving your head. So yeah, let's move on. So I was kind of hesitant to cover this one because not only is it already quite popular, but even the song is as well. I think last time I checked, it has more than 20 million views. But I think I still would like to think it's worth sharing, and not to mention, I think in the grander scheme of things, for as I can think of, she's I think it's just easier to say that she's one of my favourite female solo artists, and yeah, and I think I think she's really good. Yeah, she has like a rock star that stands out. She kind of reminds me of a younger Joan Jett, especially when she used to um, do more rocky stuff in the 2000s. And as far as I can remember, she still carries on that partially, especially as she started making music again recently. Yeah, and as far as I can remember, yeah, a lot of the drum work is rather hard, and then you have other songs like this one right here. Oh, I'm still sorry about that. I'll continue to talk about Avril Lavigne's song. Yeah, it'll save me retaking. I know this is an interesting next song, but anyways, continue on Avril's song. But yeah, both Black Star, the song previously, alongside a cover of How You Remind Me, which is the same as Nickelback's track. Yeah, there is definitely some interesting stuff, and yeah, she does attempt to vary her material quite a lot, which is one reason why yeah, she's really one of my favourite female artists, and even the um, song I was showing it. I think it definitely comes from the early years, not only because of what her voice is like and what she looked like at that point, definitely in the 2000s, but yeah, there's like a youthfulness to it, which I also really like. Even in the newest stuff, she kind of still has that, as if she's never really, um, as if she's almost like the same age, you could say, because I say that in a good way as well, and you can also find that a bit ironic because there's one song of hers called "It's Never Grown Up," which I really like. It's like a proper homecoming song. It's rather nice. And Be a Black Star, on the other hand, I think it's probably going to be the shortest song I'll ever be talking about. It's less than 2 minutes, and I do prefer the extended version, which I've heard of, which yeah, it does repeat the same lines and the same melody, but it's a very nice melody. Like Ben Folds' track, Avril's track has a very memorable piano, but except it's more of a deeper, quieter, slower piano, and it has that plus a minor. I would have created a like the chime in the background. It could be a string or a synthesizer. Could even be humming done by someone else. But yeah, it creates a proper night sky feel. It gives me that kind of vibe, which I do like. Yeah, it's like one of those songs where it kind of like makes you stop and think almost and reflects everything, but in the nicest way. Especially when I encountered that song when my school days were over. I just remember thinking, oh, gosh, it's just extremely meaningful, and yeah, even the lyrics are just rather tender as well. Granted, there are not many lyrics in that song, but um, yeah, it's just like one of those songs where it's just quite encouraging, and yeah, like I said, it's just a thought-provoking track, and yeah, I just can't believe how much it's achieved despite how small it is. Um, I kind of wish it was slightly longer, maybe write a couple more lines, but I think this song was either written as an interlude or an ending track, which is why it's quite short. But like I said, songs like this I think should have been a bit longer. I don't mind 2 minute tracks or songs under 3 minutes, but yeah, I think Black Star is a tad too short, but I think it still works. Like I said, there's always the extended version if people like me want to hear more of the instrumental parts and even listen to the lines again. Because yeah, Everill's vocals, yeah, she just uses yeah, like simpler vocals, considering it's more of a simpler song, and with simpler lyrics, and with only a couple of longer notes in between. So yeah, it's just a very well done track, and it kind of reminds me of How Does It Feel, and also Goodbye, which also is quite similar because it sounds like a song coming from an orchestra, and there's actual orchestral elements, and both have a prominent. I don't think How Does It Feel has the piano work. Goodbye definitely does every now and again. It also just slows Black Star. How Does It Feel, however, gets quicker, especially during the bridge, which gets quite loud, and that's where the guitar comes in. And there's also some chugging, which I might have mentioned this elsewhere, where um, you have your hand on the strings, lightly, and it mutes the notes. But if you go onto the guitar quicker, it creates that kind of sound, which often sounds very nice. And I think it's even done on a Bikisi song with How Does It Feel? And yeah, I remember the percussion coming in as well. I know that, yeah, I know I talk about other songs, but I think they're just worth mentioning. And like I said, there's the Homecoming Anthem, which I mentioned earlier, and yeah, everything else I can think of from the top of my head. Yeah, yeah, if you definitely like emotional songs, I definitely recommend, well, not only Black Star, but the other ones as well if you haven't. And yeah, if you like, female artist that is vaguely rocky with a couple of pop elements. Yeah, I think yeah, it's just definitely worth recommending. And I think her comeback a couple of years ago, I think she still has the same amount of popularity. When I think she should get more, because if there's a whole heap of artists people still like from the 2000s, then yeah, I think yeah, she deserves way more credit and views. But anyway, so despite accidentally skipping on to this song, we'll definitely talk about Bewitch's latest track. And I'm about to find out how many views this one has, because considering having some of the most popular songs in the 90s, they're bound to get a good. Oh dear, I just had a look. Only 151k views. Why is that not in the millions? And yeah, it does sound very different from the earlier stuff like Jesse Hold On and Say La Vie, which I also really like. This one, it's like one of those approaches where it's a bit more modern to fit with the times. It does have a bit more electronic elements, and they do sound a bit more mature and slightly different compared to how U4 used to sound back in the 90s. But yeah, it's rather good, and yeah, I think this is also a bit of a shorter track, but a lot of good strengths to this one. Everyone takes their turns in the throughout the song, which is nice. But I don't really know which member is which, but at least each vocals are nice and distinct, and taken in turns, which I like. And yeah, very memorable chorus as well. I think the lines of the chorus is very short. It's almost like line A, line B, line A, line C. It's that kind of method, but once again the lines are rather short. I think the verses are as well, because there's a lot of slightly longer pauses in between, and even the build up towards the chorus, and even how the song starts and even how the song ends is also kind of short as well. But I think it's just to create an experience that's just a nice brief track almost, which can work, and it definitely works for this song. And the percussion work kind of comes in during the chorus. It sounds very much like a cymbal. If not, it sounds from an electric drum. The kind where you have a pad full of square shapes, and you just keep whacking them to create a very light electronic sound with the rest of the electronic sound. Yeah, it sounds rather nice there. Yeah, the main melody part is quite memorable, and this song does have some edited vocals, only to make it a bit more echoing electronic every now and again, and it's just to fit with the style of the song and almost make them sound like synthesizers as well. And there's one variation at the end of the chorus where they start harmonizing, which is rather nice. And as far as I can remember, it's quite a mature track as well, because some people have pointed out that the song's about getting away with someone who you wanted to get away from for a while. And I think the whole birthday title, I think it's I don't want to get the wrong idea. It could be, maybe the birthday part is the day they've found the person in the story of the song finally getting away with who they don't want to be with anymore, or maybe it's the birthday happening whilst still in that relationship, or it could be seen in either way. But as I said, I'm not very good for lyrics, but if that's been the common pattern with this song, then it's just nice to have a more of a mature song with a more mature theme. And because you're not the most familiar of Bewitched, but considering what they were like, they were very youthful, very about being young and enjoying life. And then you get onto a song like this where despite being on its feet and sounding vaguely happy, and I think it's still positive as well. It probably gives you that kind of encouragement to end their relationship with someone who you don't want to be with anymore. I've seen and heard of songs that give people enough that strength, which is rather nice. And I hope this song does, and not to mention it's needs way more views. And I wonder if this is like a one-off track, or if they are making a brand new album, considering how recent this song is, because this was the 2023 track as far as I can remember. I hope they make more stuff, because this is a really good comeback after quite a while. And actually, they're in a couple of TV appearances, but why is that not led to something a much bigger audience? And definitely check this one out. How cool Bewitched are, with their nice catchy tunes in the 90s, and coming back with a really good banger. So this is definitely the longest page you've been on, due to the accent earlier. But anyway, let's go on to the next song. I forgot what channel I found this song on. I think it's like a smaller pop channel, or it could even be a rock one. And as you can see, this is a looks like it's part of a movie soundtrack. But despite how unfamiliar I am of what the rest of the songs were like, and what this film or TV thing is, but this is a very good track. It has a mix of female and male vocals. The female vocals take more of the lead, with the male vocals coming in the chorus, and then slightly in the following verse, and then he has lines of his own later on in the song, including the bridge. And it's a I can't really comment about the lyrics. It's probably about I tell you what, could be about growing up and could probably going into the next stage of life, especially when you find someone. I think that's what the song is about, but I could be wrong. But yeah, this definitely has some really nice stuff. There's a guitar melody that happens when the chorus ends, which is a very charming, and there's an electric guitar as well. And throughout the song, there's some harmonies and vocals in the background, which sounds like a very strong hum, with a collection of people doing it, and it sounds a bit more echoey, which adds a lot of atmosphere to the song. And just trying to think what else I could say about this song. The drum work is very heavy. Definitely a song that definitely pounds and has a lot of power. And it's just a generally powerful track. And despite earlier on only having like a very few instruments with the harmonies, backing vocals only coming in the intro and possibly the outro as well. And but it does very well. And sorry. And even the build up between all the connectivity is that a word? Sorry. But the way the verse and chorus connects, I think there's like a bit of silence before the drums help quickly build up towards the chorus, and it could be an orchestra in the background, especially during the chorus, because whilst the guitar does its melody, there's some violin parts in the background, which could be a synthesizer. Sometimes the people can't always tell the difference, but and vocal wise, both of them mix between mostly level vocals, and then they have longer notes, and they're able to apply more power to their voice, especially during the bridge, which is very nice. And as far as I can tell, this suits the vibe that's matching with this poster there. It sounds vaguely wintry. You could always listen to it as a Christmas song. If you want to give yourself another Christmas track, I think I can see that working. Especially with the choir in the background, because sometimes people put choirs in Christmas together, and it's like wintry. Gives you that. Oh, sorry, not again. And it gives you a wintry feel, a warm feel, that sense of the sun coming out. A lot of just feel like it. It just feel. I was about to say it's a very community song. With both vocalists and the choir as well. It just feels like a song to gather around. I think that's how I would describe it. It's just a very strong track, not only in its execution, but with the kind of power it has as well. I don't know how modern this is. Does it say somewhere? No. But if you like strong tracks with humming, strong humming that carries on with an occasional guitar, and it's just something that could make you feel better as well. Thanks to how good the instruments sound. Like I said, I could be wrong with what the song's about because I don't know the full context. It could even be a musical track, as far as I know. But I think this is still a rather solid track regardless. It definitely has a lot of memorability to it, especially when listening to the earlier parts of it. And let's move on to the next track.
Alright, so next up, a song by Delta Goodrem, who I think used to be with one of the Westlife members, although she did do a song together, a cover of All Out of Love, which was originally sung by Air Supply, which is a great track. This song is also pretty good too. How to describe this one? A lot of cool trugging guitar. I think a lot of string instruments. I feel like there's a lot of violin work. If not, it would be like synth work perhaps. and normally it's just nice and steady throughout the song, and then during the bridge, I remember it goes a bit more sporadic, but in a very adventurous way during the bridge of the song, and even her vocals, which are kind of low anyway. She kind of uses that kind of vocal approach in this song. The vocals are slightly higher when her and Westlife did the song together, but in this case, yeah, it's a bit lower, which I kind of like, especially with all of the instrumentals being quite high pitch, somewhat not majorly high pitch, but just slightly. And um, and yeah, there's like some longer vocals she uses as the chorus builds up, and then it proper gets thumpy during. Yeah, I said thumpy, by the way. Yeah, far to use my THs. Anyway, yeah, like during like the second half of the chorus, which yeah, just adds a bit more of a climax to the chorus after a cool build up, and yeah, because after because both verses start up quite slowly lyric wise, and then she like speeds up whilst the instrumentals like carry on at speed. So yeah, to be able to adjust your voice speeds despite the song still playing out the same way, that's pretty impressive. And as for the song's meaning, as far as I can remember, I think it's about being with someone whilst taking leaps, but I could be wrong. Well, the title could back up the interpretation I have for this track. I remember a piano part, which is also during the bridge of the song. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think as you can tell, I think the other songs I'm a bit more familiar compared to this one, but considering this artist hasn't really been like, I don't know, I haven't really listened or encountered her songs outside of what I found. So I just thought, you know what, she's definitely worth sharing because she reminds me of Lucy Woodward, Carrie Underwood. Like even if this song Wings is it's a bit more experimental compared to what she normally does, which like I said, the other title I've just mentioned, where it's a bit more lighter and just uses gentle like guitar ring as far as I can remember. Yeah, she's normally like that. So yeah, it's just a very cool pop song, which looks like it's perhaps backed up by an orchestra. As far as I can remember, I quite like the music video for it too. A lot of quick cuts to really sell the energy of this track. So yeah, if you like string instruments and like I said, some unique voice work, then yeah, this is definitely the song for you. I feel like this might be the shorter section of the video, but regardless, let's get going.
Right, so on to one of my favourite girl bands. They were mostly popular in the 2000s, and I've heard that they will come back together, but nearly every time they've made a new album, they have been swapping members. The one in the centre, I think, has been there since the get-go, but then, yeah, I think there's been a lot of swapping with members every now and again. Definitely not a bad thing. If they manage to maintain the style they tend to go for. To me, they're like a bit of a mixture between Atomic Kitten and Girls Aloud. It's almost as if you put them together, and I think they're a bit more pop-like because with Girls Aloud they often have guitar work and some rocky elements, and yeah, I think the Sugar Maze are just more reliant on uh, elements generated by the computer and that. Because when listening to songs like About You Now and Round Round, it sounds very electronic, but just like a more of a gentle electronic, nothing dubstep. The same could be said with this one, although I think actually no, I know there's an orchestra in the background this time because the song starts off with a cello, and then a lot of violins come about, and there's this interesting piano part as well. Yeah, it's what starts off the song in a couple of high piano notes, and the girls' vocals. A lot of the vocal work is a bit high and gentle, and then every now and again, or like in between lines or later on in the verses, they like start to collaborate a bit, which is really nice. I don't really know who sings what line, especially this is an album track. For those who are more of a mega fan, they might be able to tell who sings what. And but yeah, I definitely understand the theme of this song. It's almost about keep trying to find a new partner, but they're just going from one by one, and they have something unique about each one, but then something bad happens, hence the title. And yeah, it is just an interesting theme. And yeah, the orchestra, I'd say, like a grand scale to this one, because it even with the chorus, it feels like there's more to the three of them singing. There's some vocals that have been duplicated, which adds to the power of it. And I think this also has more of an electronic drum as well. There's I really like the percussion work. And yeah, if there's when does it come? I think it's comes about in the chorus, and then the verse is slightly different because there's a bit more vocals, the strings more prominent, and electronic drum does its bit. And yeah, it's the verses that really talk about what I've been explaining with the chorus, almost like rounding up the theme. Because if the verses mention more people and what each person was about, and then you have it's almost like the chorus is like the conclusion to the thoughts they've been having in the narrative of the song. And yeah, there's the bridge that's like the quickest part, and then going back to the vocals, there's some stronger notes and a mix with gentler notes during the chorus, which sounds really cool. And it's just it feels like more of a mature tune as well, because the right round and oh no, not right round, that's the play right from the Kesha track, round and about now definitely come from not only their early years, but almost like their golden age, because that's the track some people go for, especially me when I think about what the most popular tracks were. So it feels like more of a mature track here that comes later in the 2000s, if not perhaps early 2010s. And but yeah, not to mention there's other songs I like by them. Ugly, there's another song which definitely has that. Yeah, that's definitely more of a mature song, and that song is also like one of those songs where I think more people should listen to it, because it definitely has the theme of just accepting what you look like. But there's been a lot of modern songs recently where they get overly jovial about, it doesn't matter what you look like. But with the song Ugly, on the other hand, it treats it a bit more seriously and a bit more meaningful. And I feel like if I was insecure about how I look like, I definitely would feel like I would have been helped by their song, as opposed to other moments other music I've heard. I've listened to tons of songs that have that vibe, and yeah, I'm not saying that a jovial execution is a bad thing, but if it's given enough weight and meaning to it, then it would work. But even then, the song Ugly, it does have um, I think it would make you feel happy, especially with how nice the chorus is. It gives you that positive feeling. And I also really like the song called Easy, which actually has a guitar in, and the vocals are a bit more softer and a tad flirtatious. And then they use like very strong vocals as the chorus kicks in. I think Easy comes from the early years. I might be wrong though, but yeah, I think that track is fantastic. And there's parts of that track where it only has the vocals and some very minor guitar and percussion, and yeah, it's even then it's still able to create a song that's almost tense, and then the tension increases. Oh yeah, it's just a really well-rounded track, and the same can be seen with this one as well. So yeah, definitely a favourite album track. Yeah, considering the others ones I mentioned were actually singles. Um, so yeah, let's move on to the next one. So yeah, there's definitely times in the 90s and 2000s when bands try and give themselves a decent, just have their go in the industry and see what happens after releasing a few singles and even an album. And unfortunately, bands like these tend to discontinue due to lower chart success than they hoped, which is a real shame because not only do I like this album, but yeah, this track is absolutely fantastic. Um, if you're wondering, I don't really know the names of these people, but I know one of them currently plays a teacher in um, Water Road, the modern series. I think it's her. Um, and then this guy here, he appeared on The Voice during the first 5 years. It's one of those seasons. I'm not sure if that show is still going or not, but it was definitely because as The Voice was quite popular when it first came out. I mean, and me and others were keen on watching it, and yeah, he was one of the contenders, but in the first round only. So yeah, he didn't get a chair spin unfortunately, which is a shame because I do really like his voice. Definitely a highlight in this song as well. And yeah, it's like one of those. It sounds very alike Steps and almost any other soppy romantic track you can think of, except this one does have a lot of unique elements, such as there's the orchestra, and I also really like the exchange of vocals because like you have the verses sung by the either male vocal, yeah, they've taken turns, very distinct vocals, and then the pre-chorus is sung by the ladies, and even the bridge as well. And yeah, it just adds to that nice back and forth element to the track. And what's even interesting is that the verses are just like a bit more on the simpler side, despite how good the male vocals are. And then when the pre-chorus kicks in, there's a bit more build up, more instrumentation. Instrumentation? I think I keep using that word. It's a made up one. Um, but yeah, it just and then it just builds up to the chorus where everyone sings, and it's just great. And every despite not knowing who sings what, all of the vocals are definitely unique. Yeah, it's just really nice, and I've liked this song since I was just quite young, and yeah, yeah, it's aged really well, and um, yeah, I just really like the collaboration of this track, and even the variety of vocals you can hear with these people, because there's a couple of vocals who are able to project long, strong notes, and some of the ladies can do the same. And yeah, just they all just given their time to shine. I think this is their definitive their song, that represent them the best, and definitely one of those songs where it could make people go like, why weren't why did they not carry on for whatever reason. Yeah, I think, as far as I know, especially with the who's currently in Waterloo Road now as an actress. Yeah, by the way, yeah, I hope the rest of the carry on doing stuff, whether it's music or acting, because yeah, I do like them a lot, even with just that song alone. But the entire album is just very, very good. And yeah, another parts of the song is that the bridge is quite extensive. You have everyone taking their turn again, and then you have some nice long vocals by the ladies, and even with one of the men as well. And then yeah, the orchestral parts really kick in, and the way this song starts and ends also sounds the same again. A very distinct opening. Even that the end of the song is like a bit of silence once the vocals stop, and then it plays the intro part again to end the song more nicely. And yeah, it's like one of those songs that sounds very, it's almost like stuck between the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, it has the maturity of a 2000s track, but it has like some minor cheesy elements of the 90s. And yeah, the way it I think this is mostly an electronic track, despite the added orchestra, or it could yeah, it's definitely an orchestra, because the way the strings kick in, yeah, sound, you know, definitely distinct from a synthesizer. And the music video version of this song sounds slightly different. I can't really describe how. Maybe the orchestral parts sound very different when the song starts and ends. Yeah, yeah, it's just another interesting observation, because between the music video version and, you know, when you listen to the song on the album, yeah, it is quite different. But yeah, overall, yeah, I wish this I've heard more from this band. And yeah, if you like the likes of Steps, where, you know, it's that kind of upbeat pop with a mixture of male and female vocals, yeah, you'll definitely like them as well. And the song as well, yeah, it's yeah, a fantastic one. Yeah, it's one of my favourite. I just really like how distinct the vocals are as well. I think that's the highlights. The thing I look forward to the most when it comes to this track. Um, so yeah, let's get to the next one. So yeah, the theme with this video is it just talks about other tracks alongside the one I'm demonstrating. I'll start off with the basics. So if you are familiar of this face, she is mainly an actress. One of her most famous. Sorry, sorry, I just walked a bit. Sorry, just losing my breath. Anyway, um, yeah. So yeah, she used to be in the older series of Waterloo Road. You know, 2009, 2010-ish, when season 6 was about, the only season she's appeared in. And yeah, and yeah, I was shocked to hear that she had some music under her sleeve. And under her sleeve, upper sleeve, it's up her sleeve. Anyway, yeah, and yeah, a lot of really cool songs. I guess I'll talk about the other song I like alongside this one. There's a pop tune called Hypnotize, which comes in different versions. They start and end differently, and one of the versions even has an additional rapper as well. And yeah, it's a really interesting track. But now let's talk about this track, which is very different. It's one of those slower, more emotional songs that mainly has the piano with, yeah, not as much instruments that come in, especially with the second verse. And as I can remember, it's like an additional chorus, and the percussion work is still extremely light. And then the song ends quite quietly as well, with the vocals just carrying the rest of the song, and they pretty much carried the whole of the song as well. Yeah, I do find it quite an emotional track. I think it's a track about moving on, or, you know, trying to build yourself up, and, you know, which could explain the title. Yeah, I really like the piano as well. It's a slow piano, but it still uses the slow notes in their own way, which yeah, is really interesting. And yeah, and despite being an actress, she, you know, is able to use her vocals in various ways. You know, there's the harmonies that she was using in Hypnotize, and she's able to use her voice in the sassy way. And but in this track, she can do a couple of longer notes, and she is able to use the vocals quietly, because there's instances where she'll sing one line quietly, and then she'll sing the following line with slightly stronger vocals. Yeah, and it's really interesting. And sometimes when you hear an actor sing, sometimes you're like, is it really that person singing? Because it's very different to their talking voice. But in this case, you can definitely tell it's her singing. But I find it very easy to spot out, because, you know, I used to rewatch a lot of old Waterloo Road very often. For season 6 being one of my favourites, that's when Amanda Burton was the head teacher. Yeah, that's a vaguely decent era. Quite like that one. Yeah, I can't think of anything else here. It is just a very simple track, and it definitely has that it's very similar to the Avril Lavigne track, where it gives you a lot of reflection. Um, yeah, it's just like one of those tracks. And even interestingly enough, this song almost ends on the bridge, but then it uses a small part of the chorus as it quiets down a bit, because the bridge is definitely the loudest part with the most going on then. Oh, hang on, she was also in um, oh, Once Upon a Time. She played the movie's version of Jasmine when Aladdin came along around season 2 or 3. Yeah, she was there as well, for those who know that series. I vaguely remember liking that one. It's either on Netflix, Disney Plus at the moment, even Prime. I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, just another nice track I recommend. I kind of like the visuals in this as well. Kind of sounds like the song, although I see it more of a nighttime song, but still nice nonetheless. And like I said, I do recommend Hypnotize as well. Yeah, just a snazzy, cool track. But yeah, let's move on.
Now, this is a really interesting part of the video, because this is one of those artists who, does everything herself. It's a bit more freelance. She's performed once in I think it's like the Metronome stage in Nottingham. I could be wrong, but just one of those artists who I think deserves way more credit, because none of her songs have reached 1 million views, let alone 1,000. And this is just some of the best stuff I've ever heard from the modern era of music. And I think she might be one of those artists who only wants to create a simple song, but doesn't really want the fame and fortune from it. But I think there's still should be given far more credit. But yeah, so her music is very there's it's like those one of those songs, or just some of those songs where you can really tell apart what each individual element is. And I really like doing that with songs, because even some of my favourite songs, sometimes I like picking out what audio fingers which and what instrument each part is. But you sometimes like, I can't really split it apart yet because there's lots of busy work. But with this case, you can really separate. But like for instance in New York, there's the keyboard and like an acoustic guitar, even a violin in there, and it's just only about 4 instruments, and it creates a very like deep atmosphere. And the same can be said with this one as well. This one's a tad more electronic. Why I say that, because it has a keyboard which has like more of a thorough role, more prominent across the song, and even she layers her vocals too, to create more of an echoey effect. And it's really well done. Yeah, New York is definitely one of the most emotional songs I've listened, because it has lyrics like if I'll ever see you again. It has lines like that, but it's said in such a slow, deep way, and the emotion behind it as well. And the song describes like the surroundings. It talks about bright lights and that, and I think because of the song title, I think it almost takes place in a city, and you can just imagine that. Just like imagine a city spot to yourself where there's an occasional light and you're just standing there on your own looking back on your thoughts. It gives me that kind of vibe. And even that one too, it's very similar. And I won't go too deep into what I think the meaning of either track is, because like I said earlier, I'm not the best with lyrics. But it's just just 2 really emotional songs. And her persistent style is going for these songs that have a very slow tempo, because she hasn't done any quick tracks yet, and it'll be interesting if she ever goes in that direction. But I think she knows what she does best, and yeah, it's just it's just some really nice gentle stuff. She deserves so much more credit, and I really like her live performance for the song as well. Seeing everyone play, it's some really good stuff. And considering how young she is, she has the potential to do more and have a really cool future. I'm one of her. I don't think she even has 100 subscribers on YouTube yet, and I'm one of them. I'll be anticipating every single song. So if you're here, then I congratulate you. You're superb. I think that's all I can say. Not to mention she has a couple of music videos in this one here. It's really cool because that's what the premise is. She just sits there and has the city skyline going across it. It could be New York again or Chicago, like in another track, but it's just some really nice and reflective. But I would say she's the least popular artist and set of songs on the list, and I really hope there's far more popularity with her material in the future.
So whether I put this video first or the other one, or if you've seen the other one before this one or vice versa, because I do have the other video where it covers underrated songs from the last century. It does have a section where it does refer to an artist or an album, which I've talked about extensively in my album ranking video. And then the poll, it's not as similar because in the other video, the songs from the last century one that I think are underrated, it's definitely referencing an album with those particular songs, which I somewhat explain again or reintroduce to to make sure that they're there when when introducing people to songs. But in this page, however, I didn't really mention the songs, but not the albums, because it was Mika's first album, which I put as one of my favourites. And but yes, I just remember one day listening to the rest of Mika, and then I come across these two songs. This one matches with this, and the other song matches with this. I don't know which one came first, but they're both really good songs. So they're different, and like there's similarities when listening to his early work, but they're still kind of different. Like we're starting with this one, it's more synth heavy, as in it's just like a single synthesizer that plays in like the first third of the song, and the drum work mainly comes in and out of the chorus, because it goes I don't think it continues in the second verse, but then there's a lot more that appears, more percussion work anyway. But I think like I said, I think it's just mostly a couple of synthesizers that carry the track, and I like it as well. It has that edginess and normal speed that a similar speed to the average Mika track, where there's like cases where he heightens his vocals a little bit and a couple of longer notes, but it keeps it mostly low throughout the track, which is more interesting, and it creates a very snazzy environment. It's but this one, however, No Place in Heaven, this one has the piano being more at the forefront, and I think the only other instrument is the bass. I don't really know what else is featured in the song. Definitely no drums, so it is just another one of those quieter songs. I really like the piano in this one as well. Very memorable, and vocal wise, they're higher compared to this one, and it's more of an emotional track as well. This song is like more of a feel good upbeat one, but this one is the kind of song you would be reflective of you know, of any memories while listening to the track. It has that kind of vibe. To me, it kind of feels like, you know, you know, being after his first album being a huge part of my childhood, and then this song comes about at a time where I finished my education. It just feels like a full circle for me almost with this song, which is why I kind of have a small attachment to this. And yeah, I can't really make out what either song is about, but really, regardless, yeah, it's just a nice upbeat track, and then the reflective one, and uh, yeah. So as I said, yeah, the vocals are mainly higher, and but yeah, there's backing vocals from himself, which appear in the choruses of you know, both songs. If anything, the second verse has a you know, one or two backing vocalists from himself to vary the verse a bit more, especially in the pre-chorus too, the second pre-chorus. So that's interesting. And uh, can't really think of what else to say. Although I guess going back to this one, like the vocals like peak a bit more during the chorus, which is yeah, just reminds me of classic Mika, especially with the other slow songs he's done. I can't really compare it to my interpretation. If anything, it's I tell you what, it sounds a bit more like Happy Ending, because when you think that song, it uses more steady vocals, but there's like high pitches in between, which I really like. It makes his voice a bit more distinct. So yeah, if you are a massive fan of Mika, I think firstly, if you're unfamiliar who he is, he's done famous tracks like Happy Ending, Grace Kelly, Love Today. You know, those really good songs, and you know, I've done a video ranking albums, and yeah, this was definitely a top 15. Yeah, it's a fantastic album. The second one I did like parts of, especially We Are Golden. I recommend that track as well. Yeah, that one is more upbeat with uh, you know, it has backing vocals from far more people and different people compared to these songs where he does the backing vocals himself. And you know, We Are Golden, it's a bit more of a up-to track. I like this one, except it has a bit more power to it, far more rocky with a guitar as well. Uh, so yeah, I don't just not only recommend those two songs, but I definitely recommend his whole discography. I want to say that he did a song with Ariana Grande somewhere in the last 10 years, which is an interesting choice. I do vaguely remember that track, and I remember liking it. So yeah, he's definitely a unique artist with a unique voice. I like his piano work, and yeah, very good writer as well. He's written for other artists too. I think he's written for Boyzone, you know, during the later parts of their career as well. So, sorry, my voice is slowly going. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, two fantastic pop songs. And yeah, if you've been the meter for either, then yeah, I definitely recommend either of them. So yeah, let's move on. Not actually, it's moving on to the last few. So yeah, let's get on to them.
And finally, we have yet another rather nostalgic track. I think this might be not only the oldest song I like, maybe one of the. Actually, no, I don't think it's the oldest track by release, but it's the oldest one I know of and have a very deep connection to. And as you can see, it's it's potentially talking about three different songs here because these two remixes are so distinct from not only the original track but from each other at a point where each of them are rather special. Of a soul song with a really nice acoustic guitar and minor electronic elements, and also just a nice low tempo track which makes this song stand out. I really like the music video as well. It's because a lot of music videos of theirs are quite dramatic and big in scale, but you watch this music video and it's nice and slow. It takes place, in more populated locations. So the reason I just stopped myself there, they're often filmed with other people around, but with this time it feels more intimate because you have close-ups of people, and the camera's slower, and don't have, you have these shots which are a bit more zoomed in. You don't always have wide shots of the areas, and even the environments that they're filmed in are quite small, which just emphasises a bit more of a contrast compared to the grand scale in the on-set film in which they normally do, and also not to mention other boy bands that were filming their music videos at that time. But yeah, let's get on to the remixes. So there is always quite an interesting discussion about remixes. You know, some manage to be different from the songs, some manage to be better than the original, some understandably not. And there's some remixes that sometimes just speed up or slow down a track, or just simply add additional elements to try to create a feeling. And as far as I know, I'm not like the biggest remix fan, because as someone who tries to listen to new music on a daily basis, I don't really account to remixes unless I'm going for an entire YouTube channel. So for instance, Spinning Records from much earlier on in this video, they have a whole ton of remix version of songs, to which I often have mixed feelings on, because my other favourite example is in my previous song recommendation video. There's a song called Dilemma by Accent, which you would find on Roton Music, which is a music channel, and that's an example where I feel like the remix is better than the original, and this is the other example right here. So you might have heard of DJs from Mars. I've seen a stream of them once where do they wear bags on their heads or boxes on their heads? I don't quite remember. It's the two of them playing outside, and yeah, it was kind of cool. But yeah, they made one for this song here, and I think we'll go for this, just talk about this remix first. So it does speed it up, and also not to mention both versions of the remixes. They have the extended version and the short normal version. But yeah, the longer version has some interesting echoey elements. But then when it gets to the main riff, I really like the note segments. Once again, it sounds like notes you would hear from a keyboard. Oh, hang on a second. Sorry about that. My laptop needed charging. Anyway, let's continue. So yeah, the riff of what the verses sound like and the chorus. It just it makes the song stronger, because in the original song it's the vocals that take more, are more in the forefront because of the nice acoustic elements. But in this case, it's much stronger electronic elements which makes the vocals stronger, which then adds more depth to the song. And yeah, it has a bit of an emotional touch to it. I can't describe it. Like the notes are just there's a lot of, the sound effect where it goes whoosh, like nice and slowly. It has those every now and again, and it just sounds really cool. And they do it select parts, especially when in the long version this instrumental builds up more before the first verse, and then they occur just before the chorus happens, and then you also have the percussion, which is proper hard and introduces what the speed of the song is going to be like. Well, that's what can be said with the extended version. And but yeah, it's just the notes are just really nice and sweet, and also despite the varied vocals of each band, like both remixes really adapt to either version rather well, because their notes stay the same, but despite the different vocals come along, it just sounds really cool. That the DJs from Mars starts with max vocals, which is, I like this one, but this remix has less emphasis on the solo vocals. I don't think it even has Jay's vocals at the end, unlike the other two. If anything, this one has a small snippet where a totally unique thing where they keep repeating "Feel the Vacancy" in the extended version of that remix. Just before Tom's vocals comes along. I just thought, that's really interesting. I don't know where that's come from. I wonder if they've done that originally, only to then find that deleted segment and thought, hey, let's add in this remix to make it being a bit more unique. But yeah, I guess we'll move on to this one as well. So this one has a bit more of a echoey sound, because normally a keyboard sound is sharp, but in this case it feels like, I guess, like a spaceship sound, where it's just a bit bassy, but it's like light at the same time, and you can just hear like a nice chime, and the chime in this just comes in and out, and yeah, it just feels like, I just remember listening to this song in the night when looking at the night sky, and I was like, wow, this suits it really well. It's a really emotional track, and then later on it has more solid light notes. No, it just looks sweet, sharp parts as the song begins to end, which, yeah, it just sounds really nice. And the way they collaborate the vocals, they make the vocals a bit lighter, because both these versions of the song, the vocals are quite heavy and collaborative, and yeah, it's just a lot of emphasis on the strength of the vocals. But this one just like lightens the vocals a bit, even probably cutting off one or two people from the vocals perhaps. But yeah, it's just really interesting. I think this is a tad quicker compared to DJ's Monsters remix, and yeah, and just despite being more making the song more emotional, making it faster, going for lighter notes, they are still rather different. Like I said, this is a bit more echoey, and this one is a bit more reminiscent of a Cascada track. And once you listen to both of them, they're really stick in your head. They're so memorable, and yeah, I just have a lot of nostalgia for. Yeah, I have to admit, I do like the remixes more so than the original. The original is still good, and I'm glad it exists because of these remix. I still think this is a worthy track, especially it comes from. What would this be on? I think this could be after All Time Low or during that era. Um, but yeah, if you like remixes, quick tunes, even something you can dance to or something to reflect upon, if you like bass sounds, a sharp percussion, and nice droning sounds, yeah, these remixes are definitely for you. And this is where the video ends. So yeah, as you can tell, the modern era, despite being far more accessible for younger audiences, yeah, these songs have sadly gone under the radar. And I think one thing that the modern, but I think this is just a general thing many people do, where they just get given new songs. They get told, hey, this famous artist, they just released this new track, or hey, this other new artist, they may be new, but they have this new track which sounds kind of cool. But that's just done so few at times, at a point where, yeah, like I said, all of these songs just get hidden under a rug and potentially forgotten by hundreds of people, and it just feels like the work has just been wasted. And I just, it's understandable in the past, when the digital, when the internet wasn't as much of a thing, but yeah, it's just, I think that's just also more of a problem with modern music, where there's far more emphasis and, just getting you to get into a new song. And this gets to a point where one song can represent a huge chunk of a year, when it should be multiple songs, like sharing the spotlight. Like, granted, there can be like more songs more successful than others, but I just felt like recently there's just been, yeah, just more of a focus on a singular track, at a point where they'll just keep playing it, they'll keep, getting the numbers high for that one. But yeah, and just, yeah, because I'm not always keen on where things just get singled down. But yeah, they're just, like, why put the effort on making one song, as popular as possible, when you can make multiple songs, just, yeah, just, like, just chucking a bit of variety, see which one is more popular than others. That's what was happening in the older days, just, load of songs being released at once, and, just seeing which one sticks more, which one gains more of an audience. I feel like that has calmed down recently, thankfully, but yeah, God, 2013 to 19 or actually no, you know what, I think it is still going, because I just remember yeah, I just keep hearing the same modern track and I get really tired of it. I don't want to feel tired of songs immediately. I want to take my time with it. Anyway, sorry, that was a really sad rant at the end of that video, but you know, you get the point. So please share these songs if you like them. Yeah, just at least give them a small go, because I think that's just something else I was in the middle of saying, that there's not, you know, a lot of people that, you know, just, you know, use a bit of time to keep exploring new artists, new albums, you know, just a bit of a small exploration around the internet. I think YouTube is the best source for, you know, this music. Unfortunately, because of Spotify and Amazon Music having these premium parts, which not as many people are going to access, people, I think, should use YouTube more. And I know sometimes you have this you know, a feeling of, oh, you know, this artist entitled, but I don't know what the song is going to sound like. Am I going to like it? Am I not? And yeah, I used to get that. That's what was holding me back at first, but then I just kept on doing it and it paid off. There's hundreds of songs I like now because of my own effort to keep exploring instead of just accepting what I was given. And I think everyone else should do that more, and in that way there'll be more pieces of work that I listen to, especially what I've listed down here. So yeah, I think I'll end the video right there. Like I said, I hope you like the songs, and something else I'll also do as well, because I'm would like to be family friendly, make the videos adapt to a younger audience. That's why I won't have the comments here, but I will post a Twitter post and you can share any feedback or comments you have. And even if you know, want to share anything, you know, like other modern songs you like, or another perspective of modern music you have, or you know, which songs of mine on this list of mine rather, which you like or didn't, you know, just yeah, we'll just create a bit of a community, and well, a small one at least. We'll just see what happens, because this is early. So yeah, just yeah, you get the picture now. Let's end this video right now before I continue on further, and I'll see you next time.